and welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and for the next hour we're going to demystify, and we have a mister, it's pretty cool, demystify aromatherapy. What is it all about? But before we get to that, we are not live this evening, so if you want to ask a question or suggest a future topic, you can always email me at talk@bcattv.org. And again, since we are not live this evening, we have a little skeleton crew. So a lot of our usual people are missing. As always, Chris Flaherty and Tad Stefanak are here as part of the BCAT crew, making sure that us volunteers behave ourselves. And speaking of volunteers, Colleen Moore has given up her evening to come and help us out at BCAT for Something to Talk About. So thank you, Colleen. And last but not least, I would like to thank my husband, Paul, for staying home for, well, normally I say daddy date night, and it's kind of a daddy date night, but it's also homework night. So thank you, Paul, for dealing with homework issues. Okay, logistics aside, I would like to welcome again my wonderful guest, Dr. Kandyce Mutter.
Thank you.
And you are wearing a different hat today.
I am, yes.
So we are going to talk about aromatherapy.
We are.
So before we get into that, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, how you came to the Burlington area, and what made you decide to get involved in aromatherapy?
Sure. So
in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. I'll try and remember all that. So I am a chiropractor by trade. I've been in the practicing in the Burlington area for 8 years alongside my husband, Dr. Andy Mutter.
So who started the whole thing? You or him, or did you just kind of like meet at chiropractor school?
No, we didn't, and a lot of chiropractors do. But I went to college in Iowa, and he went to college in St. Louis, and we...
A little space in there.
It was, very much so. I'm originally from Canada, New Brunswick in Canada.
Oh, okay.
And so I decided I wanted to do a year residency in Massachusetts before I went back home.
Okay.
But it turns out I was doing my residency at the office where my husband grew up going to the chiropractor.
Oh,
so
okay.
He was on his way home from college. He went in for an adjustment.
Okay.
There I was, and you know.
The rest is history.
The rest is history, yeah. So we opened up our practice here in Burlington in 2010. So we've been practicing over on Cambridge Street since then.
Excellent.
Yeah, we just had our 8-year anniversary.
Yay!
Yeah, I know. So I've been in the profession for about 12 years now, and you know, I was thinking about it. If you would have told me 12 years ago that I would be sitting here with you talking about aromatherapy, I would have told you were nuts. Because, you know, I don't know if you're anything like me, but I always thought that essential oils were just used to make your home smell nice.
Pretty.
Maybe a nice swap out for candles, something like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until my son was born, my oldest son was born, that I realized the therapeutic value of the oils.
Now there's like a real therapeutic value, not just, oh, it smells pretty and nice and relaxing.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Wow,
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, and so that's where it all started for me, was with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what exactly are essential oils, other than being essential?
Yeah, so an essential oil is, if you talk to an aromatherapist, they're going to tell you that...
Well, what is an aromatherapist?
Well, it's someone who is trained in kind of the art and science of plant extracts or essential oils. So the way they describe it is that an essential oil is like the lifeblood of the plant. Now, for me, coming from my background, that didn't really resonate with me.
Yeah, I'm also trying to figure out how you extract them from plants, but that's another question afterwards.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that for sure.
Okay.
So it's better to think of it, or I like to think of it as, it's like the immune system of the plant. So plants are like humans in that when they get damaged or when there's like a predator on them, they release a lot of chemicals into their systems that help to
like
keep
poison
them
ivy.
alive. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Exactly like that. To help ward off predators or to keep them alive, keep them thriving, keep them in that state of homeostasis, which is also known as like balance.
Like a balance, okay.
Right. But over the centuries, humans have been using plants medicinally.
Oh.
Yes, and harnessing those constituents from the plants and use them therapeutically.
Because most like when I think of that, all I usually think of is like at home, my mom has an aloe plant, and you get cut, you chop off, and you get the oil out of that. So
yeah, so that can be
but
thought
there's so
of
much
as
more.
yeah, well, that can be thought of as the essential oil. So it's basically like the extracts of plants, roots, seeds, fruits, trees.
How do you extract it? I mean, like the aloe plant is like filled with the goo, and
Yes.
that would make sense. But
Yeah.
like tea tree oil or something, it's not. When I think of some plants, I don't really think of them having these essential oils in them.
Yeah, so it's a special process. So there's three main ways that we get essential oils: through cold pressing, hydrodistillation, and steam distillation. So cold pressing, like with olives, right, how we get olive oil, from fruits, we can get the essential oil. Now, a lot of people will think that, say, orange essential oil comes from the juices within. It's actually from the rind. And we've all experienced that when you peel an orange, you get the waxy.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
and
actually.
your hands, no matter how many times you wash them, still smell like orange.
Yes,
Yes,
right.
okay.
That's the essential oil. Same as grapefruit, lime, bergamot. There's a whole slew of essential oils that come from fruits.
Bergamot's also tea, isn't it?
It is. It's Earl Grey tea. Yes. Yeah. Most people don't know that.
I didn't know it was the same as Earl Grey tea, but that's still pretty cool.
Yeah. So steam and hydrodistillation, they actually, this past summer I got to visit a distillery, and it was fascinating. So what they do is they put the plants into a big hopper, and then the steam comes up underneath, and then the evaporate goes through a series of tubes, and then it's separated into the oil, and then floral water.
So it's like the evaporation and then like the condensation process, kind of?
Exactly, yes. So the water goes out into
I don't mean to oversimplify. I'm just trying to make sure, you know.
It's just that simple, though. That's the thing. So the oil condenses into one hopper, the evaporate goes into another one, and then the floral water comes into another thing. So floral water is kind of like a byproduct.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, and then
what is that used for?
Well,
anything?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. So it depends on the company. Some people will use the floral water and market them as essential oils, and that's where you know we're going to talk a little bit about like different types of oils and how people can learn about what they're buying. And some people will market a floral water as 100% pure when in fact it's actually just a floral water, and you're not getting that therapeutic value.
Okay.
You're
missing the oil part.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Yes.
Wow.
So that's how they're made.
So where is this distillery? I mean,
yeah, they're all over the world.
Oh, can people like go check them out, or is it you have to be like professional?
Well, it depends on the company as well. Like there are some companies that will own their own distilleries, and they'll let you walk onto their farms to their distilleries so that you can actually see firsthand the process.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. Okay, so actually, how many? I mean, are there certain plants that you can't use the essential oils, or?
Well, there's some plants that are more medicinal than others.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you find out about stuff like that?
Well, what I always tell people, like I brought this with me.
Prop.
Yes, it's a prop. So for anyone who is interested in essential oils, it's really important that you get yourself a guide. Okay. And I like this one. It's called the Essential Oils Pocket Reference. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera. And it's written by Life Science Publishing.
Okay.
And what it does is it goes through all of the different essential oils that are available. Okay. It also talks a little bit about the history of essential oils. And then at the very end, it talks about different conditions that people use essential oils for. Literally from A to Z, from like allergies to, ulcerative colitis to like, the list goes on and on. So it's a good thing to have if you are looking to use essential oils to help enhance your health.
So enhance. It's not a replacement for, professional medical care.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No. Yeah. And so what I
just want to clarify that.
Yeah. So getting back to how I discovered them.
Yeah.
My son, when he was born, he didn't sleep. Now, most children don't sleep, at least for the first little bit. But he actually slept like a newborn for about 10 months.
Ew,
yeah, so he was up every hour and a half to 2 hours. So it was really exhausting. My husband was exhausted. We had hired the consultants, read the books. It was pretty hard. And then my best friend, who is also a chiropractor, she said, I'm going to send you a bottle of something and I want you to use it. And I don't want to hear any flack, because she knew I was a bit of a skeptic. And so she actually sent me this bottle. And I keep it because it was, I do.
This is what started it all.
It really is. And I always remind her, like, you gave me this. And so it's an essential oil that actually has 11 different oils blended in. That is, and it's especially designed for children. So what she told me to do, she said, take 1 drop, put it in a little glass dish and put some carrier oil with it. And I said, what's a carrier oil? And she said, a carrier oil is a vegetable-based cooking oil. I was like,
so like coconut oil or something?
Yes, exactly. You know, and when I tell people about carrier oils, I say grapeseed is always the best one, because it's the least allergenic. Okay, like you may have seen in the skincare section of different stores like jojoba, you know, maybe you might have seen like, you know, fractionated coconut oil, which is another good one as well. And so what I did, I took the 1 drop.
Okay, that's another word that I'm going to have to figure out what it means.
Yeah, indeed. So it just means that the coconut oil is liquid at room temperature, and it's just separated out a little bit. It just works better with oils. So I mixed it up, and she said, put a little on his back, because she's a chiropractor. We all put oils on her spine. She said, put a little on his feet. I said, why? And she taught me that the pores are the largest on your feet, so the oils can get into your system. And she said, put some on your chest so that you can act like a diffuser yourself. And so I did, because I was desperate at that point. I always tell people I would have rubbed him in peanut butter. If someone had told me, he would have
that would get really messy. You know? Especially if you had a dog.
Right, exactly. So I did. And he slept through the night.
Wow.
So
now with the pour thing on the feet, is that like always, or that just for babies?
You know, it's humans. Yes. Yeah. So
somebody told me to put like the Vicks Vapor Rub on the bottom of my feet when I get a cold.
Yeah, and that's just it.
And I'm like, seriously?
Yeah, it's the same reason, because it's porous. But this, you know, you don't have to worry about the chemicals. That is contained in the Vicks Vapor Rub.
Oh, I grew up on those chemicals. Yeah. So, you know, it's the comfort factor at this point in my life.
Absolutely, yeah. So did I. So, you know, even after that, I mean, I was blown away. And then we consistently use that as a part of his nighttime routine, because it worked.
Even still today after?
Even still today.
Wow.
Yeah, not a night goes by that my sons, I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, they use oils as a part of their nighttime routine. It relaxes them. They love them. It helps soothe them to sleep. And I'm really thankful as a mom. Yeah. It's kind of like a tool in my toolbox.
Yeah.
So if you want to smell
and it travels well too.
Well, they're really little. Yeah. So that was how I got started as a mother using them. And then I started to wonder if they would have some value in my practice as a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I see a lot of families. We see a lot of pregnant women. And I just started recommending this one. You know, like, you know, maybe you should use this. Have this on hand for when the babies, you know, you can use it. Like, give them. So
you probably wait until after you're done being pregnant to use this.
Well, there are lots of pregnant women use oils too to help them sleep. Yeah. And you know, when we talk about safety, we can get into that too. But so I started using them to help support people in different areas of their health. So a lot of people come to see me for back stuff, right? I'm a chiropractor. I see neck, you know, the whole 9 yards. One thing that I can't control is how well they're sleeping. You know, is there stress in their life? Do they have digestive issues? Do they have respiratory
no
issues?
Stress at all.
Yeah. And so it's such a big problem. And sadly, it affects our outcomes, right? Because if I have someone who has a bad low back and they're not sleeping, it's going to take them 2 to 3 times longer to heal. So I started incorporating essential oils in my practice. Because if I could give someone a little bit of lavender and they get like an extra 2 to 3 hours of sleep, my outcomes are going to be better. That patient's going to be happier. So it just made a lot of sense. So,
but does it matter the reason why you can't sleep? Is it because you have a bad mattress, or you just have insomnia, or?
Well, and that's what we find out. So it's something so easy, so like it's not invasive. It's like, let's try this, see if it works. And I consistently.
Are there any like weird side effects that could happen? Or?
Not the ones that I use in my practice. Yeah. So we use the most gentle, relaxing, easy essential oils. Remember, they're distilled from plants. You know, we're around plants all day. We eat plants. You know, so there are some that you do have to be a little more cautious with. But that's why I informed myself before I started incorporating them.
Okay, I'm like wondering if they're allergens, because a lot of people have, seasonal allergies, which are plant related, and I don't know if any of the plants overlap, but have you ever encountered someone who is sensitive to certain oils because of allergic reactions to related things?
Yeah, and that's a common question I get all the time.
Okay.
But the particles in essential oils are so tiny, they actually call them nanoparticles.
Oh, okay.
And they cross the blood-brain barrier, so they do get into your system, into your brain, but they're so small that they don't actually trigger the immune system to release those histamines and the inflammation.
Who knew? Okay.
So, in fact, when it comes around to the spring, when everything's blooming, I'm diffusing oils nonstop in my office, and I'm telling people to use the combination of, and here's my first little secret, lemon, lavender, and peppermint. You mix those three together, and it acts like a natural antihistamine in your body. It helps to reduce inflammation.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Now, do you have to use a diffuser, or can you do like the, rubbing it on your temples and, pressure points, or?
Well, this is a great time to tell you how to use them, right?
Excellent.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's three main ways to use essential oils.
Okay.
One is aromatically. Like right now, we're sitting here enjoying lemon, right? It's lovely.
Yes.
It's great.
It's blue. Or is that a light under there?
There's a little light in there, so it kind of
okay.
looks like a globe, and it's just wonderful even just watching it. But aromatically is the most effective way to use an essential oil. So you can use a diffuser. This is a cold water diffuser. You just fill it up with tap water. You put several drops of oil, plug it in, start it, you're good to go.
Cool.
Or you can use it in your hands, and I'm going to get you to try this, okay?
Exciting.
I know. So the most basic way to use an essential oil.
Oh, wait, what kind of oil is that?
So this is lemon.
It's the same stuff
Same
as
as
in there.
this.
Okay.
Super gentle, awesome. Now with an essential oil bottle, there's a couple of different holes there. The big one in the middle, that's the air vent. And then the oil actually comes out a small hole along the side.
Oh.
So what you do is you just hold it and wait until a drop forms. It's okay if you get 2 or 3.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. And this is just lovely, lovely.
Yeah, I'm like afraid now. It's
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. You're doing a great job. And then once you get the drop in there, you're going to, perfect, well done. You rub your hands together, and that activates the components of the oil, and then you just put it right over your nose and smell and inhale. Nice, right? Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. And then sometimes people will kind of put some on their neck, and it's really great. So that's the most basic way to use an essential oil.
And it's not like greasy at all
It's
either.
not bad. So it's not like when you say oil, you think like cooking oil, like slimy.
Or baby oil, which is kind of slimy.
No, it evaporates very quickly. That's why you never want to keep. You want to keep the
Cover
lid on it all the time.
Or else it goes away.
Yes, yeah. The second way to use it is topically. So people will.
Well, what's this?
Yes,
this is topical.
So we're doing a combination of the two. Yeah. Yeah, so some people, and especially in my practice, I'll have them apply oils to their sore joints because it can penetrate through the skin and get into the joint and help heal the healing process.
Okay.
And then the third
Now,
way.
is it just for joint, or is it also like a muscle relaxant as well?
All of the above.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
so like there's a lot of utility value to them. And then the third way is internal consumption. So that's
Like drinking it?
Yeah, consuming it.
Okay.
So that's a French way of using aromatherapy. There's different schools of thought in
The
aromatherapy.
French therapy.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look up French aromatherapy, like a classically trained French aromatherapist will prescribe essential oils for people to ingest, almost like a nutritionist would prescribe a supplement, because they're actually stronger than herbs, like 50 to 70 times stronger than herbs.
Well, because it's, evaporated and condensed.
Yes. And you can actually cook with essential oils.
Really?
Yes, you can. There are certain companies that have lines of oils that are approved for consumption by the FDA.
Okay.
And I experimented with this myself once.
All right.
I was making a pot of sauce, and I thought, okay, I'm going to swap out my oregano, because the cool thing about essential oils is they don't expire. So you can hang on to a bottle of oregano forever, whereas you have a bottle of, say you get beautiful organic oregano herbs, if you don't use it, it expires in what, like 6 months, 8 months? So anyways, I was making...
It would still be sitting around my kitchen cabinet for, 12 years or something, but
yeah,
anyway.
Right.
So there's oregano oil?
Oregano oil, yes.
Wow.
So I made a pot of sauce one night.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, well, I'll just shake some oregano oil in it. Well, it was incredibly strong.
Oh,
All you need to season an entire pot of sauce is 1 drop of oregano oil.
Wow.
But
so probably nobody ate the sauce that night when
absolutely
it had
not.
several drops.
It was a learning moment for me as as a mom and a chef. So I tell people, like, disclaimer, make sure that the oregano oil you're using is one that's approved for consumption.
Now, does it say that on the label, or
Well,
how do you tell?
And that's how you can tell, right? So what you want to be using for consumption, like if
Okay.
you're looking to really improve your health and wellness,
Okay.
you want a grade A oil. Now this sadly isn't something that's just labeled out there.
Of course not. That would be too easy.
It would be too easy. In this day and age, you know, the industry isn't very well regulated. You know, essential oils, even though it's a very ancient modality and ancient therapy. I mean, there's evidence back to 4500 BC of people using
But it's
oils.
people knowing how to use them.
Yeah. And so,
And now anybody can use them.
yeah, anybody can, but you still have to respect the strength of them. So you see oils popping up kind of everywhere now, right?
Okay.
Like everyone and their dog is making an essential
Exactly.
oil. Right. So what you want to look for is a first distillation. So what that means is, I'll do an analogy for you. So in the morning when you're making your coffee, right? You put your cup in the coffee maker, you put your grounds, your fresh grounds in the slot, and you pour your water in. And you hit the button, okay? And then what happens is you know, percolates and you have this beautiful cup of coffee.
And it is beautiful.
It is beautiful. That's considered a first distillation, okay? Now, in theory, you could put that cup down there again and run more water through the grounds. You'll get something that looks like coffee. It might smell like coffee a little bit, but is it gonna taste as strong?
No.
No. So sadly, the majority of the oils that are on the market today are second, third, fourth, sometimes 30th distillations.
Ew.
Right. So if you're someone who's like, I have a sleeping issue, I want to see if an essential oil is going to support me, you don't want to even bother with those oils because they're not going to yield that sort of effect, right? So that's why a grade A oil is what you want.
Okay.
A first distillation.
Now, does it say that on the label somewhere, or
No.
on the sign, or?
And that's why I brought this to show people.
Okay.
So what this does is now the source of this is a brand comparison chart.
Okay.
This was done by a certified aromatherapist, and what she did is she looked at the top 10 brands of oils that are out there for people that they have access to.
Okay.
And what she did is she just, on the back, it talks about all of the different tests that determine whether something is a grade A oil or a grade C oil, and within
or the 30th
this,
generation of,
or just like, you know, big box store oils, because sadly those are out there too. And she goes through and she does the breakdown. So this is from 31oils.com. People can get this. It's, you know, they get access to it, and that way you can make the best choice for yourself to what brand you want to use. But the majority of the oils on the market, I think it's like 90% of the oils are either floral water, which is what I mentioned, the byproduct of distillation. They're made with floral water. Sometimes they're cut with synthetics, with fillers, alcohols.
Oh yeah, that kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And a dead giveaway is if there's an expiration date on it, because then you know that it has like some sort of cooking oil in it, because cooking oils go rancid after a while, right?
Yeah.
So they have to put the date on it.
Okay.
And even if you see 100% pure therapeutic grade oil on a label, all it means is that there's at least 5% oil in there. That's it. So it's like, it's buyer beware. Yeah. So, you know, what I tell people is, just like with your food, if that's something that matters to you, you know your farmer. Where do the plants come from? How are they harvested? Like, do they store them in, you know, a warehouse for 6 months before they're distilled, or are they distilled on site? How are the seeds chosen? Is there insecticides used? Is there pesticides used? So all of these things are very important.
Because if there are pesticides, that ends up in the oil.
It does. Yeah, and that's the thing. So, you know, again, if you're looking just to swap out some candles, I mean, it might not be such a big deal. But if you're really looking to improve your health, or maybe like detoxify your environment, which is another reason why people will use them, go for the grade A, the best oil out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about how to apply them, but how do they actually work? I mean, yes, I'm smelling them, they smell nice, but Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What's the science?
yeah, what's the science
Give me the
behind
science.
it?
Yeah. So this was what
Tell
I was.
me why.
I know. I was so interested in this because when my son had them on him, I'm like, what's happening to him?
Yeah.
Why is he relaxing so much? This is really cool.
Yeah.
So when
How does this work?
How's it work? So when you breathe these in, remember I said nanoparticles. So the particles are so small that they actually cross the blood-brain barrier. So in your nasal cavity, you have something like 25 million cells.
Wow.
That I know it's a crazy.
Who sits
amount.
there and counts them? Sorry.
I know. I have no clue how they came up with that number. But anyways, those cells are directly connected to something called the olfactory bulb. Now that's essentially like this long stem in your brain, and you can see it there. It's yellow, and so what happens is the particles from the essential oil connect with that olfactory bulb, and then it sends messages directly back to an area in the brain called the limbic system.
Okay.
Now, the limbic system is, I could get into a big complicated description. I don't want to do that. For our intents and purposes tonight, think of it as, the control of your emotional environment. Okay. So there's a couple structures in there that are relevant. There's one called the amygdala, which is thought of as your fear center. There's one that's called the hippocampus, where a lot of memories are formed.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, and we've all had this experience when we've been walking through the mall and you catch a whiff of a cologne and you might think back to like your high school boyfriend. That might be good memories or not so good memories, right? And so,
or the substitute teacher when you were in third grade who you could, Mrs. Smith is coming.
Yes. And so when we form our memories in our mind, the brain picks up all of the sensory information in that moment, particularly smell. So this is where a lot of people, like in the educational realm, or even
smells like grandma's house.
Yeah, right. Yes, right. It's that geranium smell.
Yeah.
So people in different realms of the health professions have used smell to, like in therapy, they use smell to help bring forward memories and help people dissolve the emotional charge from them. Or like in relaxation, the properties of the essential oil are really deeply relaxing for people. It's like when you walk into a spa, you smell the lavender, and what happens?
Yeah.
You start to relax.
I think I need some lavender on the way home.
No.
It's been a rough day.
Well, and a lot of people, you know what, I tell you, here in the Northeast, a lot of people, they have diffusers in their car, just like this, but little mini diffusers, and they're just on 95, chilling out. And it's all, I think it's good. I think it's good for the human race, to be honest. Yeah. So that's kind of a little bit about the science behind how they work.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we talked about lemon.
Yeah.
Now, what does lemon do? Other than smells yummy.
I know, other than it's just, So lemon is a part of the, obviously the citrus smells, and they're known as mood elevators. So they're really great to have, if you have kids, they're wonderful to...
kids are so relaxing.
Well, when they're in kind of a crappy mood, it's a good thing to diffuse. So for me and my little boys, first thing I do in the morning is I put on lemon, or I'll put on orange. And I have orange with me today, and I can let you smell it. It's really lovely. It's really uplifting. And so I was teaching some of the teachers here at BPS Con a couple of weeks ago.
They smell very similar.
Yes. Yeah. Nice though, huh? And I was telling them this is a really good one to have in the classroom, especially after lunch, just to keep everybody happy. And there's been some interesting studies done on orange oil, believe it or not, over in Europe, because that's kind of the hotbed of all of the research for aromatherapy. It hasn't gotten here yet. I'm hoping that will change in a few years.
Okay.
But what they did is they studied individuals. I think this study was out of Japan, and they studied individuals who were taking an antidepressant, and they gave one group of them orange oil to use along with their medication. And what they found at the end of the study was that the individuals who used the orange oil were able to actually decrease their antidepressant medication.
Wow.
Because it's such a powerful mood elevator.
Wow.
So it's really wonderful. Like the implication of that. I mean, if you can give someone something like some orange oil to help reduce their medication, that's a really powerful thing. So, that's another reason why I'm so interested in them
now,
as well.
Something like orange oil, you said, reduces depression. But what if there was also someone in the same household who was manic? would it like bring them to a higher level? Or I think what I'm trying to ask is, could they ever have conflicting results?
I don't think to the magnitude that someone who is manic depressive would go into a mania per se. Like, it wouldn't trigger them that way. The effects are so gentle and subtle overall. You know, we never say that, you know, X oil cures X condition. It just doesn't work that way. It's going to support your system. Now, what we do know about all of the oils is they do help to relax the body, decrease that fight or flight stress response that, you know, we have in the body. So it balances out emotion more than anything. It's never going to like turn somebody like manic. Lavender is a good example to help illustrate that. So most human beings, when they smell lavender, they relax.
Yeah.
Most. Some humans. But wait, there's more. Some humans find that lavender helps them focus. What's happening in the brain is the same. It's just a stabilization of mood or a relaxing of the mind, so that that person can either slip into focus or they can relax and maybe go off to sleep. So the effect is unique with the individual, but what's happening in the brain is similar. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And the lavender has actually been studied
extensively. So would lavender help like somebody with ADHD?
Yeah, potentially. All you can do is try. And that's, you know, one thing they say about essential oils is they're called adaptogens. Now, an adaptogen, by definition, is a substance that can produce a multitude of different reactions in the body, right?
Because we can't be simple here.
Yeah, no. Like, for example, a lot of people will supplement with omega-3 fatty acids. Well, omega-3 fatty acids have been found to reduce inflammation. It supports heart health. Depending on what that person needs, that fish oil is going to help support them. You know? So lavender, for example, I have some. I'll let you smell it. It's been found...
This seems like your standard when you think essential oils. The first thing you think of is lavender.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, they call it the Swiss Army knife of oils. It's the most gentle, the most beloved essential oil.
Is that why they put it in soap? Or is soap something different?
No, they'll put essential oils in soap, but sadly, you know, the soaps that you find commercially, it's mostly fragrance or synthetic lavender. Like I mean, I grew up smelling like Johnson & Johnson lavender. So when I actually smelled the real McCoy, I was like, whoa, this smells weird.
This isn't lavender.
No, but my nose was used to the synthetic. So it took me a while to get used to this. It's more earthy because it's from the plant,
it's
you know.
Real.
It's real, yeah.
It's plant-based.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So with lavender, it is the most extensively studied. And in the studies they do in terms of focus for children, because a lot of parents are using these now to help support their children in school, help support their focus. What they do, it's really interesting, they'll diffuse just like this while a child is studying. And then they'll put them in a testing situation and they'll give them a cotton ball with the essential oil, and the child can smell it as needed. Well, it turns out the children that studied while diffusing oil did better on their tests.
With the cotton ball?
Yes. Yeah, and it's because the aroma acts like an anchor to memory. Remember I was talking about the hippocampus? The memory?
In Grandma's house.
Exactly. And so it can be like a hack for students to help remember and recollect things. Kind of neat, huh?
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this kind of diffuser. Now I remember a few years ago the really long skinny sticks in little bottles. Were those also diffusers?
Like a reed diffuser. I mean, you can use those as well. Like some people will take these bottles of oil and they'll stick like toothpicks in them. And just leave it out. I mean, for me, that's kind of, I mean, these are very special. You know, I wouldn't do that, but yes, that's one way of doing it. Yeah, for sure.
Neat.
Yeah.
So, backing up a little bit, I'm still a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
How do you know which essential oil would be best to help whatever ails you, in essence? Do you start with lavender because it's like the Swiss Army knife, or can you look in that book that you have, or online, or how do you start?
How do you start? And yeah, that's a good question. For me, I remember back, well, I guess it was like 6 years ago.
Okay.
It was a trusted friend, right, who happened to
Okay.
be a chiropractor who was fairly well versed
Okay.
in essential oils. And I always recommend people to have a guide, you know, someone who has an idea of what's going on,
Okay.
who can at least point you to the resources that you need.
Oh,
okay. And I like, you know, when I first started, I got myself like several books. Like I love this book too, you know, Your Brain on Plants.
Plants.
I got this at Barnes and Noble.
Oh, cool.
And, you know,
Okay.
the thing is that one of the things I love doing as a chiropractor is empowering people to be their own best advocates.
Okay.
You know, pick up a couple of books, you know, find a healthcare professional who might be using these in their practice, or someone that can help
Okay.
advise you and guide you if you're really not sure.
Okay.
You know, certainly that would be a good way to go about it. Cool. Yeah.
Now, speaking of finding a trusted advisor, you have a fundraiser support thing coming up. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So one of our most beloved charities is Burlington's People Helping People.
Yay!
Yeah, so we it's about that season where we start supporting them. We do a giving tree in our office where we have like the
fun.
gifts for kids, and it's great. Like every year, Judy Walsh ends up bringing us more and more little gifts and
Little cards.
Yeah.
The tags.
Yeah, and so my husband and I were always thinking of like new and creative ways to help support people helping people. And so what I thought I would do is offer an opportunity for people who want to learn more, who are really, really interested in this,
Okay.
but they're not really sure where to start. They want some guidance, to offer an opportunity to come in, sit down, have some tea with me, sit and smell some lemon, just like you and I are having. And then we can talk about...
We need tea!
I know. Water's great though too. And to just talk about your health, wellness, which areas you're having issues, sleep, stress, whatever it is.
Okay.
And then at that point, I can pair you up with an appropriate essential oil that might help support you. So we're just asking for people to put a $20 donation towards people helping people. And so
That's pretty cool.
yeah, so they can contact our office. I don't know if you'll have it up on the screen or whatnot, but High Point Chiropractic here in Burlington.
Okay.
And
Now, is there a time frame where you have to get in?
yeah, so it's going to be for the month of October. We're going to do that. I'm not sure
Okay.
when this is airing, but it's
starts
probably-
on the 26th
Yeah, great. Okay, perfect. So we'll
of September.
of September. Yeah, so we'll start that in October,
Excellent.
and people can come in and they can donate, and we'll bring that right back to PHP.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So after I talk to you in our little consultation, I go to get the oils. Do I have to get them from you? Can I get them somewhere else? Do I order them on Amazon? I mean, how do you obtain them, and
Yep.
how expensive are they?
That's a really good question. So there's, like I said, there's lots of different brands.
Yeah.
And that's something that we'll
But
discuss.
we
in
also
the
talked about like the
consultation.
grade A and
Yes.
the distilled factor, and so how do you know you're getting something of quality?
Yeah.
And how do you know and how much is it going to cost you?
Sure. So the average essential oil costs anywhere between $10 and $30. So they're
Okay.
not as expensive as people think.
Okay.
Now, in saying that, there are some
wait.
I know, there are some essential oils that are very pricey. So like frankincense, for example.
Okay.
True pure frankincense can run you anywhere between $50 and $150.
Wow. For like a
Yes.
jar this size?
Yeah, so for a jar this size,
that
so this
size,
is a
okay.
5 milliliter bottle.
Okay.
It contains about 90 drops of oil. Okay.
Okay.
And this for frankincense would run you about, $50, $60
Wow.
retail.
Now, what is frankincense used for, since we brought it up?
Yeah, so frankincense, they consider it the king of oils, right?
Okay.
So it was used back during the days of Cleopatra and Jesus, of course. It's in the Bible, and it's extremely healing. People will use it on cuts, bruises. Lots of women will use it in face care.
Ooh,
so
okay.
if you go to like the
Like
high
a wrinkle thing? Or
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, that was, I put frankincense on my face every single day.
Wow.
Yes, and I will until my last day. I always say to people, if it's good enough for Cleopatra, it's good enough for me. Yeah, so it's really, really healing. Some people will actually consume high quality frankincense as well to just help support their health. It helps with aches and pains. Like there's a lot of different uses for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about the oregano, and then we also talked about consuming frankincense. Is it something like you just, drop a drop on your tongue, or do you have to mix it with some kind of food, or does it depend on the oil? I mean, how do you consume most essential oils?
Yeah, so the first thing you want to make sure is that it is a consumable oil and it doesn't have an expiration date, okay? And that's certainly something I can help people direct them towards the brands that are consumable.
Now so it's a brand thing. Like for instance, since we're talking about frankincense, there is consumable versions of it and there are non-consumable?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Ingestible.
Okay. Yeah. So some people will, the taste isn't all that pleasant. Some people will mix it in, say, some juice. But some people will also make capsules of it. So they'll get the veggie capsules from like Whole Foods or on Amazon and put 2 or 3 drops in and then fill it up with a carrier oil, snap it together and take it like a supplement. So I have my mom and my dad, for example, I have them drinking an antioxidant drink every morning, because they don't have a choice because I'm their daughter. I know. I'm very stringent with my family. I want them to stay alive a long time. So they're having frankincense every day. They're also having another oil called copaiba, which helps to reduce inflammation in their body. So I've kind of given them their own little mix of things. Regimen. Yes, and they're wonderful. They're very patient with me. Yes, dear. We'll take our drink.
Yes, dear.
Yes. So, but it's all in the name of good health and wellness. So
okay. So wait, I think I need an essential oil for focus.
Yeah.
So how do we figure out what the normal price range is? Do we look at a reference like that
to
figure out? Okay.
It depends on the oil. So like the citrus oils are very cost effective. You can get a little bottle of orange for $6. So if that's what you need, the first step is really determining where are my issues? And then what do I need?
What do you need?
So it could be very, very affordable for most people. And you know what? It's worth a shot rather than my goal is to maybe help people steer towards natural solutions first, as opposed to, say, medication. Why not try it? If it makes sense. I've had some people reduce their allergy medication in the spring. Some have gotten rid of it, which is great, like the Flonase and the Zyrtec.
Wow.
I've had some people.
And with pharmaceutical prices not being real stable right now.
Exactly. It's an expense. It's taxing on your organs of detoxification. Same with the antidepressant medication. There's lots of individuals that deal with anxiety and deal with emotional upheaval. If they can just have a bottle of vanilla or something to help relax them, that's a lot better than taking an antidepressant, or at least minimizing the amount they have to take, right? Okay. So it's a nice option.
That works. Yeah. Now, speaking of, I already mentioned focus. What would you recommend for increasing energy or helping with focus? Especially actually, before we answer that, is there a difference between treatment of a child versus treatment of adults? Because we were talking about the kids studying and, trying to focus on schoolwork versus me, who's just trying to focus on keeping my kids alive. I mean, is there a difference?
Yeah.
Even when we go to the pharmaceuticals, there's certain medications that you can't take until you reach, 6 or 18 or...
Yeah, so some safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So kids, infants, babies, they're in one of those populations that you have to modify. Obviously, you're not going to dump a bottle of essential oil, on a baby. And that's why one of these books is essential, so that you have your guidelines.
Essential oil. Okay.
I know. And it gives you your guidlines in it.
Now, is it broken down by age as well?
Oh, yeah. It's all your dilution ratios are there for ages.
Okay.
But I tell people, an infant, a brand new infant, doesn't need an essential oil applied topically. A little bit of lavender and a diffuser across the room is plenty. Okay. It's a lot of use your common sense. These are very strong. Let's not get crazy. There's
a lot of people don't have common sense. So there's an oil for that? No, sorry.
So the focus oils, we can talk about that after. But it's important to talk about safety, right?
Yeah.
So there's 3 populations that I like to bring up.
Okay.
So children, of course.
Okay.
Pregnancy. and pets as well, because they can be a little bit sensitive to essential oils. So like I said, infants don't really need a whole lot. There's really only 3 oils that I recommend for babies, and that's frankincense, lavender, and chamomile. Just diffused, that's fine. And then as they grow bigger, you can do different things. Like at 10 months, I was using this one with my son, and it's a combination of a lot of very gentle herbs. Again, why it makes sense to work
and that
with
comes
someone.
already mixed. You don't have to, as a regular consumer, yes, you have special training, but like,
No.
if I had a cranky baby and I wanted to try something like that, it comes pre-mixed. I don't have to figure out, you know, a little bit of lavender, a little bit of chamomile.
No, it is plug and play. You just have to dilute it, which is, and that's, again, dilution ratios are available. Like, you can look them up online. It's open to the public. Pregnancy, so pregnancy, there's certain women that will choose not to use peppermint oil in the last trimester of their pregnancy because some people think or believe it decreases milk supply. I've had some patients that have used peppermint oil throughout and they've been fine, but you know, it's good to tell people that. Wintergreen is another one that some pregnant women will not use because it's a methyl salicylate, which is kind of like an acetaminophen, has that effect. That's why wintergreen is so good for aching muscles and sore spots. So pregnant women, some will choose not to use that one. And then pets, really cats are a little more sensitive than dogs. Cats and small dogs, just as they're little, like think of them like babies, right? So usually what I tell pet owners is there's one group of oils and then one specific oil you shouldn't diffuse, and that's tea tree oil. A lot of people are familiar with tea tree. It's used for skin health, abrasions, you know, acne. Usually it's not one you diffuse because it doesn't smell very good. It's very like bitter, astringent.
I think somebody told me that tea tree oil helps with like anti-lice. Like you spray it in a baseball helmet or something, and yes, and it's great. It's very antiseptic. So it's one of those ones. Yeah, it smells pretty revolting.
Right, so you would never diffuse
it. leaked in my car, and my car smelled like tea tree oil for quite a while.
Right, because they're strong. So I would. Pets don't do well with that one across the board, whether they're dog. And would they die? Not necessarily. They might get sick.
Now, is this just breathing it in or like ingesting it? Because I know my cat, if you had those reeds, would try to eat the reeds.
Right. Yes. So with cats, usually they don't like the citruses. To be honest, they just usually will go away from it. So what I tell everybody across the board.
So you spray lemon oil on your couch so they won't claw.
Potentially, yes. So what you want to do, if you do want to start using these in your house for your health, and you have a pet, you want to start with 1 drop in your diffuser. 1 drop of orange oil, lemon oil, and just observe your pet. If they run to the other side of the house, then you might not want to diffuse that oil. So it's just, again, about using common sense. Maybe stick to the oils that you know your pet likes. And the truth is that there are some veterinarians that are also aromatherapists. So they're using it in their practice. But we just have to use some common sense when it comes to those populations. Yep.
And back to lavender, is that like a safe?
Yeah, lavender,
I think
I'm
I'm gonna go out and get me some lavender.
Yeah, it's a really wonderful oil.
Okay, what about, we talked about seasonal allergies and how these don't really cause the same symptoms. And they could actually help. What about cold and flu season? I just got a reminder saying, don't forget to get your flu shot today. So
yes.
What can I do to like not get knocked on my butt in staying home with fever this flu season?
For sure. So again, essential oils can support you. You know, they won't certainly like take a cold or flu away.
It, but
the truth is all essential oils have antiseptic properties. So they're all very good
Why
for
is that?
It's just what it's just the constituents of the oil. And remember the concentration of the oil too. If you Google essential oil petri dishes, you'll be able to see experiments done where they put like bleach up against essential oils, and there's a very comparable result, which is really interesting.
And it doesn't wreck your clothes.
Right, exactly.
And it smells better too.
But the one that I love the most for immune boosting and this time of year, as like the colds and flus come along, is one called Thieves. Have you ever heard of thieves before?
No.
Yeah, so it's a blend.
Thieves?
Yes.
Thieves.
Yeah, Tieves, I think,
Oh.
yeah. So it smells a little bit like the fall.
Yeah.
Cinnamon. So it's got cinnamon, it's got eucalyptus, lemon,
Like it also has,
clove.
what are those? Cloves.
Yes.
I'm like the stuff that you stick in the ham.
Yeah, and so it got its peculiar name from the days of the bubonic plague. So
lovely.
I know. So there were groups of people that would go around to all of the diseased bodies and they would rob from them, but they never got sick. So when they finally apprehended these individuals, they put them on the stand and they said, "Why aren't you sick?" Well, it turns out these people were rubbing themselves with clove, cinnamon, lemon oil before they went out to rob, and that protected them against infection. So fast forward several centuries, and so there's a formulation with thieves oil. They updated it a bit, and they threw some eucalyptus in there too.
Okay.
To make it just
Eucalyptus seems to be one of those other catch-all
Yeah.
things, isn't
Yeah.
it? For like relaxing? Or?
Yeah, great for respiratory health.
okay.
Really, really great. Yeah, a lot of parents use eucalyptus for their kids. But yeah, and so what I tell folks is every family needs to have this, okay?
Okay.
Because
Where do you get that?
well,
You get it with this, is it like with the other stuff?
yeah, so there are certain companies that make a thieves oil. There are a lot of companies that do make a knockoff. So that's something that you could look into on your own by checking that chart. But it's really good to have in your household. So if someone is starting to get sick, like for example, my son, I kept him home from school this morning.
Okay.
He had a bit of a cough, and as soon as I saw it, I just fired up all the diffusers, and I checked with
that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. So like every diffuser in my house had just a couple drops, and that's all you need, and it essentially neutralizes airborne bacteria. So it is
wow.
a great tool for any family to have in their house.
Got a sore throat. Got out the thieves? No, thieves.
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 Like I'm a thief. I'll steal from you.
thieves.
Yes. Thieves.
Okay.
Yep.
It went out.
It did. Yeah.
Okay, now you had mentioned, we have a diffuser sitting here, and you said you've had several diffusers in your house.
Yeah.
Can you have too many diffusers?
Oh gosh, I don't think so. I have one in every room. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just like wondering.
Well, because they all have different sizes, right? So
Okay.
you see the little teeny tiny ones. Some
Yeah.
people will have them at their desk now, so
Okay.
to keep them relaxed while they're working. I have a big diffuser for my great room that holds substantial amount of water. It goes for 10 hours.
Wow.
I'll put oils in there, right? And it ends up
Okay.
being really cost efficient too, in terms of like a lot of people are like, oh well, the oil is expensive. Not really. Like if you compare like a candle which is $14, and you have a little bottle of lavender which might be like 20, you're only using like a couple of drops of the lavender. It really breaks down to being really, really affordable.
Wow, cool.
And better for you. And then I have smaller diffusers in each of our rooms. So my boys have one that they fill up
Are
at
they
night.
always on the same scent, or do you do different scents? And
All
do any of
different
the scents
scents.
clash?
Not usually. No.
Like, I don't know.
No, like it depends on what they want. My boys have like 5 or
Okay.
6 that they really like, and I let them pick.
Okay, we talked about cost,
Yeah.
talked about safety,
Yeah.
and we talked about that handy little folder.
Yes.
What are some of the recommended places for someone to buy oils?
Well,
Like I've seen them at Whole Foods. I've seen them at Bed Bath & Beyond. You can get everything on Amazon, but I mean, is there a specific go-to place, or is there like a hierarchy?
well, it depends on what you want. So, certainly I want to be fairly brand neutral here today so that people can make their own decision.
Okay.
I tend to shy away from companies that are over the across,
Okay.
just like you can get them at big box stores, because I just can't trust the labeling.
Okay.
So the companies that I use, I
Okay.
know where the farms are. I know what their practices are. I know
Okay.
whether or not they use insecticides or pesticides like we talked
Okay.
about before.
So whether they are certified organic.
Well, and here's the thing about certified organic.
Okay.
Even that doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot.
Okay.
So within the essential oil industry, the only thing that certified organic means is that the farm has been organic for 7 years.
Okay.
Now, there are some essential oil companies that are decades old, okay?
Okay.
And their standard is actually better than organic, but they're not necessarily recognized as organic.
Okay.
So, and that even with food, like just because it has an organic label on it doesn't mean that it's the be all end all. It's just what that standard says fits in that little box. So, just because like a small farmer can't afford the organic labeling.
Right. I understand that way. So even if it's not labeled as organic, it still can be good. But is the opposite also true, where just because it's organic doesn't necessarily mean it is good?
Exactly. So that's the only thing that organic says, is that it's from a farm that is 7 years organic. It doesn't take into consideration seed choice, because you can use genetically modified seeds in growing them. It doesn't consider harvesting practices. It doesn't consider where they're bottled, how they're tested. So I am a
lot going on here.
I know, and that's the thing, is that people don't really understand kind of the science and what the industry is all about. And that's part of why I'm here teaching about this, is people need to know this information before, so they can make an informed decision for their family. So, the whole, they call it like the seed to seal process should be transparent. People should be able to research each step of this and make sure that everything's kosher and to their standards, right? And that's why I suggested the brand comparison part, because it teaches you about what's important about an essential oil, and then it talks about all the different brands. So that and it has the price points in it too, so that you can see, okay, well, I might sacrifice this for like a little cheaper of an oil, so you can decide what makes sense for you and your family.
Okay. Now, what's that book?
Oh, this is called,
like, okay, let's check out that book.
Yeah, so this is the Aroma Freedom Technique, and this is something that I teach actually with one of your former guests who is on the show, Julie Cullen, who is a licensed social worker. Yeah, so her and we join forces periodically, and we teach about this usually at my office, and it's a way to work through personal limitations by using scent, because you can access that emotional area in your brain. So usually the way we split it up, I'll do kind of the nerdy science portion, and she does kind of like the step-by-step talk you through it, because that's where she's strong and that's her professional training. And we use a blend of 3 different oils. Frankincense, there's a blend called Stress Away, and also Lavender. And the combination of those 3 powerhouses is really, really therapeutic for the mind. And this book was written by Dr. Benjamin Purkis, who is a clinical psychologist. So it's fascinating. Just the science in there is really interesting, and how he connects essential oils to working through difficulties. So we actually will probably have a talk coming up soon. We were talking about today, actually. That's hilarious. We're thinking of in October, we're going to do a class.
And how would someone find out about that?
About the class?
About the class.
About the class. They could go to my Facebook page, High Point Chiropractic Facebook page. And now that I'm saying it, I'm going to put that date right up there for you. I will call Julie immediately and set that date.
So Julie,
yes, and we'll have that on the Facebook page.
Will it also be on your regular website?
Yeah, we can put it on our regular website too, which is hpchiropractic.com. Or you can always call the office as well. And then we'll have that date probably in October, and it'll be free to the public as well.
Excellent. And if anyone wants to help out people helping people, as well as helping themselves, they can also schedule an appointment with you during the month of October to get started on the whole aromatherapy thing.
It's just a 20 to 30 minute consultation. We ask for a $20 donation for people helping people.
Cool.
We'll sit down and talk oils.
And chat. Yeah. All right. Well, would you believe we're out of time?
It always goes by so fast.
It does. Thank you so much. I'm like really into this now, going, okay, I want to go home and get a diffuser, and I want to do this. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you everyone for tuning in this evening, and I hope you found our conversation as enlightening and encouraging, and I'm not sure what else to say, but anyway, it's very relaxing. So thank you for tuning in, and have a great night, and I'll see you around town. Good night.